out on that field today, ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's hunt now! Let's hunt now! Let's go! Let's hunt! We ready! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house!
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yap, 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 yap. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yap, 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 yap. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! We ready! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house! It's a wrap. Game over.
Now, this game is just getting started right here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. Big shout out to Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Man, I apologize. Sorry for the technical difficulties and all of that, bro. You know, I don't like stuff like that.
No problem. I sent her the new link, so we'll see if she had a chance to get the new link. We'll just keep rolling with the flow, you know.
And she is there. Without further ado, the head coach of the Rice women's basketball team. I like her energy, bro.
7-0 Rice women's basketball team.
Hold on. Get out the way. Move. Okay, now come on back. And that's how I want it right there. Hey, Coach, how you doing? How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys this morning?
Doing great.
Thank
you very much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Over there, and please don't mind me being a little silly, but congratulations on a great start on the season over there at Rice.
I appreciate it. It's been fun. We got to keep it rolling though.
All right, Kris, I'll let you take the lead, but I'm gonna jump in there now. I'm just telling you now.
Oh, no worries. I'm just you know, she's been a rock and she's almost become a regular on the show on the lunch break. She was my first guest when I was filling in for you, brother. Last summertime. So
that's right.
So appreciate that as always, Coach. Just assess the 7-0 start for you from your perspective, and then we'll discuss game coming up on Saturday after that.
Yeah, I think you know, all year long, ever since the summer when everyone got here, we've talked about how special we thought this group could be. We have our core group coming back from last year, and then we added some really talented freshmen. We added a transfer that we were just really, really excited about. And I think the confidence that we finished the season with last year has rolled over into this year. And that veteran group is playing with confidence. They know how to win. They know how to play together. And that's kind of just flowing over into our young players. And our young players see what our veteran group is doing, and they're learning from them, and they're coming in and they're making their own impact. It's been really special. I'm really excited about it. You know, we definitely upped our schedule this season as compared to last season. So going into it, you're like, man, what is going to happen? This is a tougher schedule. And they have stepped up to every single challenge, and they've played their heart out. They've done everything we've asked of them. They're really locked into winning and having each other's back on the court. And I think that's why we're having such a special start so far.
And I
We
think
got
you've had
Coach Lindsay Smith Edmonds joining us here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E. Go ahead, Kris. I just had to do that station ID.
No problem. Of course, you've had different players step up in different games so far. So how comforting is that for you as a coach to know that it's not just relying on one player so far?
Right. Yeah. It's been great. Last year, having such a short bench, there were times that players would look over at me and be like, I'm tired and give me the fist. And I'm like, I don't know who you want me to sub for you. There's nobody over here. And so this year being able to substitute and not have a huge drop off, know that each night someone different can step up for us. Know that we can get multiple into double digits every night. We're just such a balanced team right now, and it's hard to game plan against. You want to take away Ashley Alston, okay, but now you got Malia Fisher and Destiny Jackson, but then you also have some freshmen coming in and Dominique Ennis and Jazzy Barnett, and also with Shelby Hayes that they've got to think about and game plan for as well. So it's just a really deep team with a lot of pieces that can score for us, and that's really exciting. It's just a matter of me making sure that I'm getting the right combinations out there and the right lineups together.
How much of an adjustment has it been? You're the second year as a head coach.
Second year.
How much of an adjustment has it been for you as a head coach to try to figure things out, make things work?
Yeah, this year from last year is two totally different things. Like last year was like figuring out, how do you practice? How do you prepare when you only have 7 or 8 players available to you? How do you get through games? Those were the type of worries I had last year. This year, it's like, man, we can actually practice, and my assistants don't have to practice. They can be assistants, and they can help me out with things. And, and now it's about, I can sub and we don't have a drop off, and they can get a breather and they can go back in and we can elevate back up again. So it's just been different. It's been a different year. It's been a different learning experience. Last year was like trying to figure out, who do I call the play for? This year, it's like, okay, what combinations are the best in certain situations? If we need defensive stops, what lineups do I want? If we need to score the basketball, what lineups do I want? Those are things that I'm having to think about this year that I never had last year. It was like, these are the ones that are going to play. Malia's probably going to play 40 minutes. DJ's probably going to play 40 minutes. And now it's the ability to make sure I'm having the right lineups in at the right times.
Coach, quick question. I've heard you say veteran multiple times since you've been on. Talk about the difference between coaching a veteran team versus a team full of babies out there.
Yeah. So last season, the group that I inherited, none of them had played a whole lot. None of them had played for the previous coach. They didn't have the experiences. They watched their teammates be successful, but they weren't the ones in those positions. And so I think, it's one thing to see it. It's another thing to be a part of it. Last year, we had some of those woes early on because I was an inexperienced coach. They were an inexperienced players. They didn't know how to win in those moments. They didn't know how to have the confidence to knock down that shot or get that defensive stop when needed. And we found our way through that, and we found our rhythm towards the end of the game, at the end of the season, excuse me. But I think that's what's carried over into this year, what's allowed them to be, so much more confident and so much more, hey, we can do this. Hey, we can finish this game out. Hey, we're going to win. We have that now where we didn't have it last year. And when I say veteran group, you're still talking about a relatively young group,
right.
But they're veteran with me. They know what I want. They know how we want to play. They know what our expectations are. They've been with me for a full year, but they're still relatively young. And that's the one thing that I got to keep reminding myself.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Veteran to you, when they're familiar with the system, they're familiar with the way you do things, and you're familiar with the way they like to be coached.
Sure.
How is that blend for you? And obviously we see it working out with the undefeated record thus far.
Yeah, I love this group of girls. They're unbelievable people on and off the floor. But you're right. You got to learn how to coach them, and you got to coach them all differently. There's certain ones that you can get on and you can push and you can challenge. There's others that you need to pull over to the side and put your arm around them and talk through things to them. So learning each one is really important because they all are going to respond differently to the ways that you coach them. So it's been a big piece of me as a head coach, learning that about my players and making sure I'm really intentional in that part of it. So it's crucial because if I coach one the wrong way, it can cause them to shut down, and I don't want that to happen. So I think it's really important for head coaches to learn their players and learn what makes them tick, what makes them go.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kris.
Coach, didn't you receives an acknowledgement from ESPN early this week?
I did. That was a really amazing, humbling experience. It was pretty awesome to see my name on ESPN, but I tweeted out right away, it's not about me, it's about we, and none of this would be possible without my staff. It wouldn't be possible without my players executing game plans and doing the things that they're doing on the floor. So as much as it said Lindsay Smith Edmonds on there, it was more about Rice women's basketball and what we're doing and the amazing work we're doing together as a team, as a family, as a unit, because we talk that all the time, we preach that, we walk that. So again, it's not about me. It's definitely about the team.
And just touch on it, being National Coach of the Week, winning at College Station against the Aggies, and following it up at home with a win over TCU, which they never trailed. They led the whole game. That's 2 Power 5 wins. How big is that for the program?
Yeah, it's been huge. It's been an amazing week. There's been a lot of things for us to push out for recruiting, which is something that we're always thinking about, right? Like, how can we get this next recruit to go ahead and commit so that we can keep doing the things that we're trying to do? So we've had a lot of great accomplishments to push out, a lot of exciting posts to be able to push. Recruits are responding really, really well. Players that I think, are saying like, maybe this is the right one, right? Like they're seeing what we're saying. We're saying, hey, we can do this. We can win power. We can beat Power Fives. We can be on a national stage and win those games. And now we have proof behind that we can really do it. So it's just a matter of hoping that some of those recruits are ready to jump. But it's been an amazing week. Definitely one of my favorites of being the head coach in my short career so far. But it's been amazing, but it's been so fun to be surrounded by the people that I'm with and the people that I choose to go to battle with every single day. So it's been an awesome week.
Coach, let me give you a little love from a former Big 12 Player of the Year candidate, Eric Martin Cross. She played for Mizzou, and she's a big fan of the work that you're doing. So let me give you that love. Now, okay. Coach, I got to put you on the spot. Have any of your girls said anything to you? I know it's different sports, but said anything to you in reference to Coach Deion Sanders making the leap from Jackson State to Colorado? Have they talked to you about, Coach, you're not going to leave us, are you?
No, they have not. We've not had those discussions about Deion and his jump. But you know what? I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so thankful to be here. My family and I love it here. We're excited about the work that we're doing. I love my staff. I love my players. This is where we're called to be, and this is where we're supposed to be. And we're really excited about doing everything we can to get Rice to be the best that it can be. And so we're excited about the move to American moving forward. We're excited about what that's going to mean for the athletic program, for the university as a whole. So no conversations of that, but we're so excited to be here at Rice University.
I appreciate you answering that question, because I know it, has been a thing in college sports for a long time. Now with the transfer portal, it's a little bit different, but there's still that concern. And sometimes back in the day, they used to say, you signed up for the school, not for the coach. But we know that's truly not the case. You're the one that they're coming to play for, right?
Yeah, and I think if you look at my career, you look at my resume, I spent 3 years at my alma mater at Appalachian State. I spent 4 years at JMU with Kenny Brooks. I spent 8 years at NC State. I'm not someone that's just went year to year and is always looking for the next thing. I firmly believe, like, be where your feet are, make where you are, be the best it can possibly be. And I'm not someone, I wasn't even looking for this one, I was really happy and content where I was at. And Rice came after me. So it wasn't like I'm someone that's just always looking for the next job or the next opportunity. I want to be where I'm at. I want to be successful where I'm at. I want to love the people that I'm with, and I want to do it the right way. So where I'm going next or when that happens is not even a thought. It's how to make Rice be the best basketball program that we can be and win championships, win a lot of games, have a lot of fun doing it, and being surrounded by the right type of people.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Kris.
Coach, you and your staff put together the #1 recruiting class in Conference USA. How much of a difference will it be from Conference USA to the American in terms of talent level to compete in the American?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a big jump. I'm excited about the pieces that we have because I think they are players that are are capable of helping us in the American as well. I think they're, again, a really talented group. They were ranked first in Conference USA, but they were ranked 31st or 32nd. I'm not sure if we fell down one more nationally. So again, I think that's proof that it's not just about Conference USA. Like if we're ranked in the near the top 30 in the country, we're getting the right type of players that can help us even win at American. So I think it's definitely going to be a jump where it's going to be a transition when we get there. But I'm really excited about the pieces we're going to be going into the American with.
And who are if I can, AJ, I just want to have our time to give a shout out to your staff. So who are the members of your staff?
Yeah, Lakivia Boykin, Coach Danny Grant, and Coach Nick Grant. Really, really excited about them. They are unbelievable people. I know as a young head coach, it's about matter of like who you surround yourself with, and I couldn't have better people surrounding me. So really excited about them. And then my support staff with Solomon Tatt. He's my strength and conditioning coach. Then I have Darylyn McDonough as my director of basketball operations, and then Mia Gallo as my video coordinator. And again, just all unbelievable people, and all do everything that they can to make Rice the best program that we can be every single day.
Well, Coach, before you go, you got to talk about the next matchup, crosstown rival. Is that one of those throw the records out? We're going against a team that that's right up the street. We want bragging rights here in the city.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we want to win every game that we play, right? No matter who it is. We definitely want to defend home court. We want to take care of business on home court. And so we preach a lot about not worrying about what's across the front of the jersey of who we're playing, and just playing the best basketball that we can play. And so, yes, we want to win because this is our next game, and we want to win because it's at home, and we want to defend our home court. I know I haven't played Houston yet, so I've only been here, obviously this is my second season. So we didn't play last year. It didn't work out with our schedules once I got here. So this will be a first time for me as well. So I don't even, never played against them. But so it'll be interesting and exciting to have that crosstown rivalry. I think it's going to be a good atmosphere. I think we'll both have a lot of fans at it. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to play it. And I just want us to, take it a game at a time and take care of business.
Yeah, Kris, what can you tell her about the matchup between Rice and the Cougs? Your Cougs, by the way. Your Cougs.
It's going to be a lot of trapping by Houston. Full pressings all over the place, everywhere. Full court, half court, corners, all those things. But before she goes to practice, I want to put her on the spot, technically, but ask her and other coaches in women's basketball here in town to do what she can. What are your thoughts on trying to get a women's Final Four in Houston? Not a men's Final Four, a women's Final Four.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. I think it's a great opportunity for the city. I think there's a lot of people here that would love to be a part of that. But yeah, I think it would be a huge thing. And I definitely would love to attend that. I mean, I know it's going to Dallas this year, but why not get it in Houston? I think it would be awesome. We definitely have the resources to do it. We have the spaces, we have the hotels. You got a lot of things that people would want to do if they come here for the game. So I think it would be a great spot to draw people into.
I hope the NCAA and the Final Four committee is listening, because they have avoided us. They've gone to Dallas. They've gone to San Antonio. They've gone and they're going back to those places. And they're not coming here. So whoever you know, let them know. Okay.
Okay. All right. Hopefully with the men's Final Four being here, has it been here before?
This will be the third time, Coach.
Third time.
Yes.
Man, if this can go well, it went really well in the men's. Let's do it on the women's side. Hopefully we can keep pushing that. But I think that would be awesome to have it here.
Yeah. Coach, again, thank you for making the time to come back to the lunch break. Obviously, we'll love to have you back again. Have a great practice today, and we'll look for good success for you guys this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll come back anytime. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Take care.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Kris, you know how to get them, brother. You know how to get them. I got to take a break because, she said a whole lot in there that I want to kind of dig into. And then, of course, we gotta follow up on the big news that happened today. But we're going to be right back. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us as always on Throwback Thursday right here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3. Here they are. You can check out what they've got on the lineup.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Brother, we're back here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining me as always. Great interview with head coach of the Rice women's basketball team, none other than Lindsay Smith Edmonds. And I had a young lady from a head coach from a Division II school reach out to me and said, "Why do you always say Lady Owls or Lady Cougars?" She said, "They're the Cougs and they're the Owls." And you know what? I received that. She said, "Women's basketball, yeah, that's fine. But putting the lady in front of it almost makes it sound like it's less than." I didn't fight the battle, bro. I just said, you know what? You're right. So let me straighten that out. I know you already do that because you're a professional, but I had to be trained up, bro. I had to be trained up.
When was that conversation?
It's been about 2 weeks now, about two weeks.
Okay. Because when I first covered Rice, excuse me, and the Cougs women's teams, that's 25 years ago. So they were the Lady Owls and Lady Cougs back then. But, evolution, that we've gotten better, learned about all those things. They're just Rice Owls women's basketball, Houston Cougars women's basketball. They thought the lady stuff. I don't think the only the team that still uses it as part of their brand is Tennessee Lady Vols.
Lady Vols, right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
right,
that's their brand. It's the Tennessee Lady Vols.
Sure.
In terms of marketing, apparel, all those things. So I think even La Tech is no longer the Lady Texters. They're La Tech.
Correct.
So as well. So yeah,
Lady
Vols is it.
Yep. Loved her commentary, man. Especially about the just what she has this year compared to last year, and having a squad. Imagine that, where you literally have to have your assistant coaches get out there and help you be able to practice. I mean, Rice University is not a D3 school, is it?
No. Injuries, transfers, being new head coach, some of the players from the previous coaching staff, Coach Langley followed her to Washington. So that, trimmed down on the roster. And then it was hard for her to bring in players to join her last season. So a lot of different issues and injuries as well. They had 6 probably healthy scholarship players.
Wow.
One additional player who was a walk-on. I think she battled injuries, so she didn't practice or play a lot last season. And they still managed, with help from the coaches participating in practice and then their practice squad, to finish, I think, one game above 500 last year. Wow. So, there's a will, there's a way.
Right. How surprised are you that they're 7-0?
Not at all. But seeing them thus far, the game, I think I've seen them play, let's see, A&M, not in person, but I saw them on ESPN Plus or A&M in person against TCU in the first game against Abilene Christian. They beat Abilene Christian the way they did because Abilene Christian is a tournament team.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed.
Yep.
right then and there, I was impressed with that win. So the Aggies, new head coach, Joni Taylor, they're going through the transition injury. So I wasn't, surprised they won at College Station. And then TCU is a Big 12 team, but they're not Texas or Baylor.
Right.
Okay, so Rice is on their level, and this year probably a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a home game. So I was surprised that Rice led the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
But, they won by 10. Game was never tied except 0-0.
Yeah.
They led the whole way. And so that was the biggest surprise. But other than that, 7-0 for the first time in program history.
Yep.
They play Houston this Saturday. My biggest disappointment for this Saturday's game against Houston, Coach mentioned it, they'll have their fans there and UH fans there, but it won't be as many as could have been because tip time is at 2 p.m. The same time that the Houston Cougars men's team is hosting Alabama.
Yep, number 8 team in the country.
At Fertitta Center.
I got you.
So I'm not going to be able to, I can't split myself in two to be at both, but I think A. Moore is going to represent the Houston Roundball Review at Tudor Fieldhouse for the women's game, and I'll be at Fertitta Center because initially that game was going to be at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
But ESPN Plus wanted, they moved it up to 2 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, I can't do both.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Wish him well. Definitely wish him well. And I love her energy, man. The way that they celebrated her on her first win was kind of crazy, man. I love that. I love that energy.
And it was great to see their, I guess, social media department, when they beat A&M. They tweeted out their locker room celebration.
Yeah.
The first win last year for her. They tweeted that out, out the locker room after beating TCU. So they are connecting and interacting and reaching their demographic. So that's smart. That's the way to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, again, a lot of people think how recruiting was when they were younger, or maybe how recruiting was when somebody else that they knew. It's different, man. It's just different. I try to get people to understand this all the time. First of all, half the people are lying. You know, you were not all of that back in the day. You might have won your one single A state championship in, 3-on-3 basketball, but it doesn't mean that you know what you're talking about. That's number two. It's just different, and folks don't have to deal with what we dealt with back in the day. I love the way she talked about coaching each one of her players the way that they like to be coached, and not losing a player trying to coach them in a way that doesn't resonate with them. That's a good coach right there to me.
Indeed. And I'm impressed with her so much that I believe Rice in the American, with her as head coach, can become a 2-bid league with them in South Florida consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, they're a 1-bid league.
Right.
I think she is elevating the program to that status. And that means being a multi-bid league, that means they don't have to win the conference championship to get to the big dance. They can be an at-large team. I think they have that potential in them with her and her staff and their ability to recruit players to Rice.
So now that's going to also come down to RPI and
well, no longer RPI net.
Yeah.
So they finally are now, like the men's basketball, adapting the net as a tool, not the only tool.
Okay.
To help determine the at-large teams for the tournament. Rice currently not currently, because I think the net, now that it's updated every day, the first one came out December 5th. They were 54th in the net with their wins over at Texas A&M and TCU. Kind of lower than I thought.
Yeah.
But because A&M is not the A&M of old,
okay,
that hurts. And TCU is not the TCU of old. So you are helped when the opponents you beat other folks.
Sure, absolutely.
So if they do well, you do well.
Absolutely.
They lose, you don't do as well. So that kind of hurt them. So it's a good start.
Yeah.
RPI rankings are different now. I don't even use the RPI anymore because the NCAA committee don't use it.
Right.
No one use it anymore.
Right.
So I'm not even sure where they are. Rice is ranked in the RPI, but it doesn't really matter anymore.
Gotcha. All right, man, let's get to the breaking news of the day. Earlier today, we found out that our own, and I mean that when I say it, and you can definitely say it as well, from Nimitz High School, played at Baylor, played, of course, in the WNBA. Brittany Griner was released earlier today in a prisoner exchange. And first of all, we are glad that she's home. We're glad that she's been released and that she's on her way home. I think she's flying into San Antonio. But in saying that, we have not forgotten about Paul Whelan, the Marine that is still there, been there for 4 years on a, if I'm not mistaken, an 11-year sentence. He served 4 of 11 years sentence. No one has forgotten about him. And I love the way that Brittany's wife stated her joy that, that Brittany's coming home, but she was very compassionate to the Whelan family and has been in direct contact with them on multiple occasions and literally said, Brittany and I are going to champion trying to get him home, and other Americans that are still being held in foreign countries. So just want to get your thoughts about all of that, good, bad, ugly, and sad.
I'm trying to pull up Commissioner's Adam Silver's statement on it, because his statement was a little bit different than Kathy Engelbert from the WNBA statement. Okay. Because Kathy Engelbert's statement acknowledged still wanting Paul Whelan because he's wrongfully detained as well and want him home also.
Okay.
So Commissioner Silver makes no mention of Paul Whelan. his quote is statement, Britney has had to endure an unimaginable situation, and we're thrilled that she is on her way home to her family and friends. We thank the members of the NBA and WNBA community who never wavered in their efforts to raise awareness of Britney's unjust circumstances, end quote. Now, let me see if I can pull up Kathy Engelbert's statement, because it is a little bit different.
A little bit different. All right. I want to hear it.
All right. Let's see if my phone cooperates here. All right. Quote, there has not been a day over the past 10 months where we all haven't had Brittney Griner on our minds and in our hearts. And that has now turned into a collective wave of joy and relief, knowing that she will soon be reunited with her family, the WNBA player community, and her friends. BG has shown extraordinary courage and dignity in the face of enormous adversity. The WNBA is grateful beyond measure to the Biden administration, the special presidential envoy for hostage affairs, and all those who played a role in bringing BG home today. Our hope is that Paul Whelan and every wrongfully detained American will be returned home safely and as soon as possible, end quote.
Yeah. Let me add to what you're saying, a direct quote from David Whelan, the brother of Paul Whelan, the Marine that is still detained in Russia. He says, and I quote, "It is important to me that it is clear that we do not begrudge Ms. Griner's freedom. As I often remarked, Britney and Paul's cases were never intertwined. It has always been a strong possibility that one might not be freed without the other." And that's the backdrop that we learned earlier today, that Russia made it real plain. It's one or nothing. You're not going to get 2 for 1. No matter how much we feel like the Merchant of Death should have drawn Britney and Paul out of the situation. And let me be respectful. Britney and Mr. Whelan out of the situation. Russia said no. And for those who think that we should have then left Britney over there because we could not have gotten them both out, boy, I tell you, make that decision when it's not Britney Griner. Make that decision when it's your daughter. Make that decision when it's your wife. Make that decision when it's your friend. And I don't want to hear that my friend would never have done X, Y, Z. Half the stuff we don't know what you've done, what you said behind closed doors anyway. But the bottom line is the Whelan family, the one that everybody is trying to make it seem like, well, he should have been gotten out first. He is saying, we understand, and we were notified by the president and the State Department that this deal was not going to include Paul.
All man disagrees with you. Look at his comment right there.
Let me bring. Sorry, AJ, when you give up a gun dealer for a drug dealer and bring that gay stuff to the White House, it's wrong. What about the men's rights here in America? Why do we have to buy into that? You got a lot mixed up in there, Almad, and I don't think one has anything to do with the other. And let me just ask you this. Where was that energy when the Marine that got out of there first, where was that energy then? Why was nobody talking then about Paul Whelan? Why was nobody saying you got him out, but you didn't get him out? Why is it? And I know the answer. And again, I'm not going to try to change anybody's mind on social issues and orientations and things like that. But I'm just saying, I think that it's more of an energy because of Britney, not because of anything than that. People have energy, negative or positive, about Britney, about her lifestyle, about her freedom of speech, about how she's chosen to express her freedom of speech, which I will tell you, I don't agree with a whole lot of people on what they say, but I will give everything I've got to give them the right to say it, to fight for their right to say it. But we all seem to have this energy around Britney that we did not have when another military person got out. Nobody was talking about Paul then.
And I want to go to a point. I don't care about Britney's sexuality. What I got to do with anything?
It doesn't. It does, and I love all men.
She's an American citizen, all those things. But let me say this from this perspective. Before Britney was wrongfully detained, how many Americans knew that Paul Whelan was detained? I mean, these diehard Americans, how many of you knew about Paul Whelan being detained before BG was detained? And before the WNBA started bringing up Paul Whelan being wrongfully detained. So don't try to conflate the issues like some folks try to do.
Right.
I'm not here for that.
And again,
because there are other Americans over there who I don't know about.
There are several hundred Americans that are detained across the world. I don't know all of their names. I know two. Well, now one. I know Paul Whelan. I know Paul Whelan because of Brittany Griner. I knew about the gentleman that was over there before, who got released first. I knew about him. I don't know about the others that are in Iran. I don't know about the other ones that are in Korea. I don't know about the other ones that are being held in other parts of the world. But I also do know that I want them home just like I would want my son or my daughter home, my sister or my brother. And I don't give a Hades about what their sexual orientation or preference is.
Americans.
Because again, I'm pastor enough, and let me go ahead and walk in that role for a second. I am pastor enough to know that if I don't agree with something, I just don't do it. And if they ask me, watch this, if they ask me my opinion on it, I will share my opinion lovingly, respectfully, and then I'll be done with it. But to think that my beliefs have to be everybody else's beliefs because they're my beliefs, let me tell you something. Read that book that y'all carry and realize that Jesus himself didn't even do that. Jesus defended a woman who was caught, not alleged, not rumored, not thought, who was caught in adultery. But he also knew that the people that were bringing her brought her for the wrong reason. They were focusing on the wrong thing. And that's why he put the right thing back on the wrong thing. He said, I tell you what you do. You go ahead and cast that first rock if you're without sin. And the wiser ones, the older ones, dropped their rocks first and walked off. I'm not saying that we don't address quote unquote sin. I'm not saying we don't address what's wrong, but I also know that we don't have to force our beliefs on other people, no matter how strongly we feel about them. Doc, if you don't want to have an abortion, don't have an abortion. If you don't want to drink, don't drink. If you don't want to take cannabis, don't take cannabis. Now I don't know about my man up there over there in Georgia. He talking about having a grow field in the back of the church. I'm not talking about that, but I am saying if that's not your thing, then don't make it your thing, but also use your power. Your power is your prayer. Your power is your faith. Your power is your love one another as I have loved you. Use that to bring about change as opposed to all of this indignation and just, I would rather that girl still be locked up because she's gay than I want this young lady, American, home.
Amen, brother. I can't say it to any better than that.
Oh, man, I love you, bro. You know I love you, man. And I promise you, if you need a lung or a kidney, I give you mine. I mean that. But I'm also not going to rock with us because we want to throw rocks at other people. If we go by that same standard, there is not a church in America where a man or a woman could get up and preach, because we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And just because we want to make it more about one thing don't mean that God is not concerned about everything. It's like the abortion rights people. The abortion pro-life people. Listen, I promise you, God is worried about more than just that. And if you don't think he is, I encourage you to get to know him better.
Preach, brother, preach. And you may have turned off some folks today on this show episode. Don't care.
Yeah, you already know.
I'm not concerned. That's why I'm part of the lunch break family. So it's all good.
Let me tell you this before we go. I was with one of our dear friends and colleagues and sisters this past Sunday, and Willie Gibson was in town at the game.
I heard, yeah.
And we had a frank discussion about Lovie Smith and Pep Hamilton. And it was about they probably are both going to be fired at the end of this year. Lovey being one and done, that just it stilled something in my heart. It's just like, really? Like literally, we all are educated enough to know that this is not his fault. He didn't put this together, and he's trying to make the best of what has been given to him. I'm not apologizing or defending Lovey. I'm just saying I'm wise enough to know this is not his fault. Heck, Jesus himself would have had a hard time turning this thing around. I know he turned water into wine, but I don't think he can turn this Texans team into a championship team. So
not in 1 year.
It gave me pause, and then I started thinking like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And I'm not talking about quitting sports or whatever, or I'm definitely not talking about quitting broadcasting or whatever, but it just made me realize that, man, we talk about other people's lives so casually. We talk about their livelihoods like it's no big deal. And then we always cover it up with, well, but he got a severance package, or his buyout was X millions of dollars. Money ain't always the point.
Right.
You can still be sad and hurt and heartbroken with a whole lot of money.
Yeah, these are still people. These are still human beings. They may be well
again,
paid.
I love my sister for, being frank and being direct. And I made the comment that I felt like something else was going on in the organization. And I called another player's name, and I wasn't calling his name because he was a bad guy. I was calling his name because you've had multiple players who are just good players. You had Justin Reed, you had DeAndre Hopkins. You can go all the way back to Jerome Brown and to Jadeveon Clowney. You had good players that, for whatever reason, wanted out of here or got out of here, including J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we don't tie that to the place where I feel like it belongs. The issue is, my grandma needs to tell me, man, all them stories you told me, there's one common denominator, you.
Yeah.
So we can't blame all this on Lovey. We definitely can't blame this all on Pep Hamilton. Hell, we had Tim Kelly, who had never called plays before in his life, and everybody put up with him. But we can't deal with a guy who has coached up Justin Herbert, Andrew Luck, and other Hall of Fame worthy quarterbacks. He worked a little bit with Peyton Manning. He worked a little bit with some other Hall of Fame worthy quarterback. And we mad at him because he can't turn Davis Mills into something that he may never be.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm serious. You might come back next week, and we might be talking food, bro.
Depends on the food. I might be able to do that too.
We might be talking. I might give you 30 minutes, and then I'm coming back. All right, we're gonna be back with food talk right here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E.
Oh man, but it's similar to Steven Silas. And fans, they're coming from my neck because I don't want him fired during the season. What's that gonna solve? It ain't his fault. He was hired to coach James Harden and Russ,
and ended up with
and didn't get a chance to do that.
John Wall.
So I mean,
Boogie Cousins,
and a whole bunch of role players,
whole
lot of role players.
And then they replaced them with a bunch of rookies who can't score defense.
Right. And now in his third year, you're seeing signs of progress, right? And the talent level, they're getting better as players.
They beat Phoenix. I was surprised they did that. Obviously, they were worn out by Golden State. They came back and won the game after that.
And they beat the how should I phrase it? Being nice, the Houston Rockets East.
I was just getting ready to say James Harden them from the Philadelphia 76ers. And
the Daryl Morey's. So yeah.
And they beat them in double overtime, which says something.
Yeah.
They stayed engaged. They stayed on what they were doing. They didn't fall apart at the end. There's something there foundational that all we need to do is give it time to marinate.
And let me be clear again. I don't own the team.
Yeah.
Tillman could decide if they lose to the Spurs tonight, I want him gone. That's Tillman. He's the owner.
Yeah.
Would I agree with it? Nope.
Yeah.
Will I still cover the Rockets? Yes. But from a fan perspective, and then these same fans, if the Rockets go on a 5-game winning streak, oh, they're winning too much now. We're ruining our chance to get Victor.
Right.
Well, what is it then? Do you want them to lose or do you want them to win? You know.
Bruh. I feel like I'm about to become a sports broadcast journalist recluse, introvert, where I just keep to myself. If that's people's take, let it be their take. I mean, I literally chose not to talk about Coach Deion Sanders and the whole HBU situation because I have colleagues that I care about, man, that I love. I mean, seriously, that are like, listen, if you didn't go to an HBCU, if you didn't graduate from HBCU, stay out of this one. And I'm seeing some of their posts where people are talking about how they didn't go to an HBCU, but they contribute on a regular basis. They give scholarships. And instead of being, applauded as an ally, they were vilified. Oh, well, I do that. As if because you're doing it, nobody else should do it.
Right.
Like, you got it. So we don't need, but which one is it? Do the schools need help financially?
Right.
Or do they not? Do you want people to give to an HBCU like I don't even give to Tulane? So, like I would give to a Tulane area. You know where my money goes for Alumni Association? Xavier University, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever my frat brother says, hey, man, I need that. Here, bro, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. It's not even a thing. And guess where my money's going to start going? Southern University.
Yeah.
But if that means I can't talk about it, then I'll just be a sports broadcast introvert. I'll just mind my own business and I'll just do my own thing. And I won't do breaking news because folks always want to know who your sources are. Listen, I just want to sit and hang out with Kris Gardner. I want Erica Kenyatta on. I want All Mad not to be mad at me because I don't agree with him. I want Keith Hennick to keep going. I want people to keep winning $50 a week in the Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge. I want to be able to give somebody $500 at the end of the year. I want to do good broadcast journalism, man. I want to have some fun. I don't want to fight everybody. But now, Todd Malcolm, listen to me. You starting to sound like you've gone to a MAGA conference and got indoctrinated. Don't come to me with that bull. I promise you, I love you, but I'll pop snot out you. I will, boy. I'll pop you in the middle of next week and not think a thing about it. So be careful. Be careful.
And you brought him up. But I didn't go in HBCU. I went to the University of Houston. We're working with Charles Bishop and Dr. Cavill. I do a lot for TCU and Prairie View. Oh, Kris, but you can't. I do more than you do. Some of y'all, And the thing is, Coach Kelvin Sampson, University of Houston, Houston Cougars, #1 ranked team in the country. Every chance he gets to discuss and pump up HBCUs, he does it.
Yeah.
How many folks, let me say this real quick. How many folks would know about what he says at the University of Houston platform about HBCUs if I don't say it?
If it wasn't for you. If it wasn't for you. Because the other folks in that room are not going to, they're not going to put it on their airwaves. They're not.
So, he did it again this week. Talk about the round, and let me bring it up because it's happening in a few days. The HBCU Roundball Classic.
Right.
Doubleheader taking place next Saturday, the 17th at Del Mar Fieldhouse. But the Cougs are playing NC-A&T this coming Tuesday as part of it. It's all part of the HBCU Roundball Classic. So it's a good thing because we're trying to promote and end and eradicate racism. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Black folks, we experience racism whether we went to HBCUs or not. So, right? I think we all agree on that.
Let me tell you something, brother. That racism don't look at your college ID. That racism, that prejudice, that just, passive aggressiveness, it don't look at your college ID. It looks at this.
Yeah, so trust me, when I get discriminated against, it ain't because I didn't go to TSU or PV or UH.
Yeah. So hey, we got a hard stop at the top of the hour because we got a new show on after us. So do me a favor, talk about the HBCU All-Star game that will be coming up at TSU, and let me know what you're working on.
If that's going to be the Saturday before the championship game in April
2nd, I believe, is the
2nd, taking place at TSU's H&PE Arena. There's a link to it on my Men's Hoops blog, so you can go to that as well. I'm going to post it on my website also.
First HBCU to host that game. First HBCU to host that game.
So it'd be a great chance. I mean, that Final Four week, and I'm pretty sure that Holly will talk about that as well as part of Final Four. When we get it back on the lunch break, she'll share that as well. Yeah. So go to my Men's Hoops blog at thehr.com about that. Tickets are available. You can start getting tickets to that also. Again, folks, me and AJ, I shared that with AJ. I didn't go to TSU. I didn't go to Prairie View, but I'm still sharing that information.
And I immediately asked, how can we cover it? Because guess what? I want to cover it. I don't want to just cover Coach Prime. I don't want to just cover Coach Dancy. I don't want to just cover Coach McKinney. I want to cover the basketball. Baby, if you got a child over there running track at an HBCU, if you got somebody over there playing soccer or tennis at an HBCU, listen to me when I say, get us the information. I promise you we'll cover it.
And let me be clear. I'm not the only one who covers HBCUs. There's brothers who and sisters who do much more than I do. But I'm going to do my part.
Amen. Amen.
That's all I'm saying.
Amen. Tell us where we can find you and follow you, Kris.
HoustonRoundballReview.com, Houston Roundball Review on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Rockets at the Spurs this evening. I might do a post-game show tonight, but for sure we'll have a Let's Talk Houston Rockets this Saturday on my YouTube channel. Saturday afternoon at Tillman's Building, number 1, Houston, host number 8, Alabama, 2 p.m. on ABC. We'll have a Let's Rage Cougs post-game show, the unofficial post-game show for Houston Athletics, men's basketball and football. That'll be on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, hosted by the young lion, Andy Yanez. Very proud of him. Andy, Dayon Dunlap, and me will chop it up about that. And hey, real quick, if the Cougs win, awesome. Win December.
Yeah.
If they lose, they got a game on December 13th. The season's not going to end on December 10th. Keep that in mind, folks. But tune in for that. But as always, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective.
Kris, love you. Appreciate you, man. Talk to you next week.
Take care.
All right, y'all. Let me get ready to go. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. Got to have your picks in by tonight, 6 p.m. Central. If you want to compete in the Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge, give me all of your picks for the NFL games. For the Monday night game, give me the exact final score of the game for both teams. Text them to me, 832-403-5005, or email them, aj@jonesmediaandent.com. Again, as always, let's not do this. Let's do this. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except meet me here tomorrow for Freestyle Friday.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.